I like your centre.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
This is my
cute.
centre.
Oh,
That is
that's too
adorable.
cute. I love that.
Oh no, he's
That
even
is,
better. One moment.
oh, that's cool. That's so you, Will. Oh my God, that is so you.
Break it down.
Awesome. Well, Will, welcome.
I should have done
Thanks
that
for
over.
joining us.
That's right.
And
Here we
thanks for
have it.
joining us with Santa as well. It's good to see your Santa. So look,
Right.
cheers. I will grab something shortly. I mean, it's not even 12 o'clock here by me, so I might just wait a little bit. But
And I'll wait until I'm done swimming tonight.
Ah,
yes,
yeah,
I
good
think
plan.
that's a very good call. Very good call.
Yes,
Right, so
considering that it
lovely.
is.
Yes, 1 o'clock, and you've still got to get through the end of the day. Yeah, you know, I'm with you. You too, and Ruth, when she joins us, I cannot believe it is the 14th of December and we are doing our finale. I got to hand it
the
to you.
side of the year.
I've got to hand it to you all. The fact that we're still doing this side of the year and that you actually are here. I want you to please, like, if I could push that button, I don't have my setup here today, but if I could push the button to give you all a massive round of applause, I promise you I would, because I am so impressed that you are here. So it has been a real joy to work with you all. Quite frustrating in terms of our time scheduling, which is something I need to work on in terms of creating a new process. So thank you for the opportunity for me to grow as well in my business. I started listening to Atomic Habits in the car. It was quite funny. And this is all in lieu of what we're going to discuss and you know, of your journey as well. I saw somebody wear a t-shirt the other day and it said 1%. And they were talking about 1% improvement all the time. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, forget that. I don't do 1%. It's like I'm either going to go big or go home. And the problem is that's how I've worked my entire life. And so I'll give it a good go. And then what I realized was with my Fingerprint for Success profile that I did recently was that evolution was really not a high motivation for me. And it's like, I'm all balls to the walls, or I'm, you know, or I let it go. And if it doesn't work out, I'm like, yeah, next. And then I, you know, instead of, and I said to the coach who was coaching me in Fingerprint for Success, I said to him, can we at least make it 2%, please? Just two. I said, I'm really struggling with one. It's just so little. But the beautiful thing about it, and it was funny because I think the universe has a sense of humor. And I was driving to my brother's house, which is where I am today. And I was looking for an audiobook to listen to while I was driving. I thought, let's be productive in the car. And I was scrolling through and I was at a traffic light, or at a yes, a traffic light. And I'm scrolling through and all of a sudden Atomic Habits pops up. And I was like, oh, I've been wanting to kind of check that out. And I've been like pushing against the learning slowly but surely. And one of the first things that he speaks about is the 1% improvement and incremental changes. And I'm like, oh, I just burst out laughing. I just did. I was like, okay, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. And so today, as we have a look, we're going to reflect a bit back on your journeys. We're going to have a look at how far you've come, where you started. Will, unfortunately, you and Ruth have not completed your speaker stage report, which I'm not surprised about at this time
I
of the
thought
year.
I'd done that.
You've only done it once, dear. You need to do it again after you've completed the program so that I can show your progress. But that's
Oh
okay.
my God.
We can do it. We can do it afterwards. Don't worry.
Good,
We're okay.
thank you.
It's okay. No one's dead. No one died. No one's
Well
yes.
done, Caroline. So keep it holding up
So
the truth.
at the
Well done.
end, at the end of the session, I will share with Carolyn's permission your results with you, and I have been working on the report to make it pretty. It is a work in progress, continuing to be 1% improvements all the time. And I want to acknowledge Carolyn in this space as well, and to say, Carolyn, I could not have done the speaker stage questionnaire without you. Carolyn's brain is phenomenal, and especially in the data space and especially in Excel. I would just not have known anything. I called Carolyn out of the blue yesterday. I was like, okay, I need help now. Can you? She was like, I'm on it. I'm like, I'm still in my PJs. I'm not putting on video. And she hopped online with me and helped me sort out so many amazing things that I needed to sort out for a presentation that I was delivering. So Thank you,
Awesome.
Carolyn. You will be noted in the reports as the person who co-created the numbers and things with me. So thank you.
Very welcome.
And Will, when yours is done, I will be able to share your report with you as well.
Thank you.
There we go.
I look
So
forward to doing it.
Awesome. So what we're going to do today is this is your opportunity. It is optional. You don't need to. You don't have to. There are never any have tos. But this is your opportunity to experience what it might be like to present in front of the group and get some in the moment feedback. And I know that for both of you, you're doing a lot more presentations in person. And so in the virtual space is quite different. But according to the trends of 2024, hybrid events and virtual events are here to stay. So today is also an opportunity for you to present to the group virtually in a way that allows you to also expand on and grow your virtual presenting skills. And so once each of you gets an opportunity to present, I will give you some feedback. And then at the end of it, we're going to take some time to look back on your journeys. Can I just get an indication from the both of you? I did say that I would stay on for an extra half an hour if there was anybody that wanted to stay and celebrate a bit more. Will either of you be staying on past the 90 minutes? So today we're only scheduled from your 1 to actually to your. That's right. Sorry, Carolyn. Thanks. I had to do the math quick. Like that was embarrassing.
That's all good. I'm so used to working across multiple time zones. It's all good.
Yeah.
I probably won't, simply because I need to get organized for my swim.
No problem.
So yes.
All good. All good. No problem. And so, Will, we can toast a little wine if you want to. Or if you want to get back and have your half an hour back to you for the day, you're also really welcome to do that, entirely up to you.
Look, I've left time, so however it flows, I'm good.
Okay, fantastic. Sounds good. So with that, and given that we're already almost 20 minutes in, who would like to go first?
I don't mind.
That.
Okay, go.
So before you do, just a couple of frames. Just before you do a couple of frames, Carolyn, I want to just quickly manage your sharing here so that give you all access to that. This is not a test. So a lot of people, when we get to this point in the presentation or in the program, people are like, oh my God, I'm so nervous and I'm just not going to be It's not a test. This is not for me to see how well you did. I've got your speaker stage questionnaire to have a look at your progress as well. But obviously, this is an opportunity for you to deliver something in a really safe space with people who are here in a non-judgmental space. We're here in support of you. We're cheerleading you on. And we are here at the end of the day to support your incremental progress and development. Even if it is today
1%.
literally 1 to 2%, it still is progress. So I'm learning.
I'm going to make a special thing for you.
Okay, I'm going to drink to that.
About 1% every day over the course of the year. So one of my new projects is on felting. I'm going to make you a present and send it to you.
Okay. Thanks, Carolyn. All right, so Kaz, it's over to you. Any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first few slides of the presentation that I delivered to ARCA, because that was what I was working on. I must admit, I'm not feeling 1,000% refreshed because I did it a month ago. God, it really was a month ago. But anyway, and it was really interesting because I had started building some slides out in my own space, and then ARCA sent through this presentation template that I had to use. I was like, okay, so that's what you're getting as well.
Awesome. So one more question before you get started, Carolyn, is what is one thing specifically, if you could choose, you can choose more than one if you want, but one thing specifically that you would like support with the most today in terms of, and one thing that you would like to practice the most in your delivery?
Okay, so off the back of your note around how 2024 is going to continue to be a lot about virtual as well, anything on that space and how I'm doing in the virtual delivery would be really helpful. Okay. And the other thing that I test drove something. I don't I'm not entirely sure that it worked as well as I would have liked it to work, but that might just be because I was setting myself up for failure. But what I've done right in the beginning of the presentation, I've given a couple of facts across the two countries, which are quite downer. I mean, they're quite depressing. And that's just the reality that people are living in. But then I try and go, okay, so it's not all crap. But I would like some feedback on A, did it work, didn't it work? And B, how I could do that a bit better so that, because I quite like that the thing of this is where we're starting. Things are pretty shit right now. In my head, it works, but I'm not sure that it works in actual delivery. So those are probably the two pieces I would appreciate some feedback on. Obviously, 100. I won't do the entire presentation because it was 40 minutes worth.
No. So just up to 10 minutes, if that's okay, Kaz, and then perfect.
Perfect. And hang on.
And so when you're ready, let me know. And I'm going to do a brief introduction as if I were an MC and you're at an event where you're about to deliver. And I want you to get on stage, proverbial stage, as you would, and as we've practiced, remembering not to say, hi, I'm Carolyn Rom. Thanks for having me.
I didn't do that. You'll be so proud of me.
Done.
I even wrote down what I was going to say so I couldn't fuck it up. Right, now hang on. Let me just figure out how to share my silly. There we go. Perfect. And now I want to put the... Okay, I'm afraid I'm not going to be looking directly at you because I haven't figured out how to make that all work on my thing. But I want to share that. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen.
We can see your screen, yes. Data, courage in collections.
There we go. And now you can do the intro.
All right, fantastic. So welcome everybody to the finale of the Speakers Circle program. We've made it to the end, and here to start off the wonderful sort of final summit of the year is a wonderful speaker named Carolyn Rom, who is very much in the data space, and she's also the CEO of Scores for All. She is here to share a bit more with us about data and the courage in collections. It's going to be really insightful, and so get your notepad out and get your pen out. And Carolyn Rom, please put your hands together and welcome Carolyn Rom. Hi, Carolyn.
Woo! Thank you so much for that awesome introduction, Bonita. Today, we're going to have a little chat about data and how we can use data to build trust, scrap fees, and improve our results. Yesterday, we heard Barrett talk about the work he is doing on some of their models, including the fact that initially they had only 1,000 variables or features that they were using, and now they have over 16,000. He also talked about deep learning versus XGBoost and the fact that XGBoost outperforms deep learning. Nick Hurley was speaking about the economic outlook, and as she put it, it's in a slightly precarious position. She highlighted the fact that only 28% of the population have mortgages and that real wages are in fact declining. We've had some awesome panel discussions with Mike Kirsten and Tim talking about the pain of the last recession. And I come from South Africa and certainly remember my mortgage rate being somewhere around the 16% mark.
Okay,
Tracy Spears,
I'm going to stop you there really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you there really quickly. And I'm going to quickly ask you to make 2 adjustments, and then I'm going to ask you to carry on again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. First adjustment, what are you reading off of at the moment?
So I've got my slide thing that I can't put on my page. Hang on, maybe I can move it. Now I can move it. There we go.
There you go. Much better. Can you put it directly under your camera so that it has a sort of a window of about that much?
Yeah.
You can make it that big, literally under the camera, and then you just scroll up as you're going.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the one. That's much better already, because now I feel like you're actually talking to us, which is great. The second one is this. I want you to look at Will.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to now look at my face.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want you to just talk to us.
Okay.
As if you were just sharing this with us. That's the intention.
Right.
Okay.
Okey-dokey.
And with that, thanks for the interruption. Back to you, Carolyn Rom.
Thanks so much for that amazing introduction, Bonita. Right, let's talk about a few Australian and New Zealand facts. There are about 3.7 million households in Australia that are experiencing food insecurity. 48% of the general population feel that they are anxious or struggle to consistently access food. And in New Zealand, things aren't much better, with about 600,000 people regularly accessing food banks. We see default risk across in Australia increasing 8% year on year. We see an increase in credit card and mortgage delinquencies. We see a rising demand for credit, and we see personal savings reducing. And these trends are reflected in New Zealand as well. The good news is that this increase in arrears is not intractable. We can actually do something about it. We're going to spend the next 30 or so minutes chatting about data, how we can use our data to deliver more bang for buck. And we're also going to chat about how to build an effective collection strategy, which is especially important when we see arrears increasing, especially if we don't have more resources. We're also going to chat about how to operationalize these strategies. After all, it's actually about our people, our customers, our analysts, and our technology firms. Clive Himby described data as the new oil, and Jim Barksdale quipped that if we have data, let's look at data. If all we have are opinions, let's go with mine. And Carly Fiorina pointed out that the goal to transform data into information and information into insights. Everyone is obsessed with data, and this is a great place to start. So we're going to be looking at data and how the devil is in the detail, and how we combine data with other data, and how we pull it together to tell a powerful story and identify customers that we can work with and that need our help. I'm going to tell you a little story about the importance of data. Many years ago, our team would pull together all the credit risk type information. The marketing analysts would pull together their information, and perhaps you guessed it, the numbers didn't align. This wasn't immediately apparent when you spoke to the different analysts and the different teams. However, when you spoke to the C-suite, it became very apparent that what the risk teams were hearing and what the marketing teams were hearing were two slightly different things. And the key problem with this, people were discussing these minor differences rather than the fact that directionally these numbers were aligned. And that means that when you have data that comes from different places or different teams, you end up having a debate on whether the data is accurate rather than what we should do about the story that the data is telling us. You may think that this only happens occasionally or with smaller organizations, but believe it or not, it happens across all sorts of organizations, from the very large to the very small. This type of issue leads to mistrust in data, it leads to analysis paralysis, and it leads to teams constantly having to rework their numbers and verify why these differences exist, rather than solving the problems that they present. I'm going to stop there because otherwise I'll just keep going and going and going. Stop share. There we go.
Okay, awesome. Well done. Let's give her a round of applause there, Will. Well done.
Thank you.
Bravo.
First of all, it takes a hell of a lot of courage to get in front of everybody here and to deliver that presentation, any presentation. So I want to acknowledge you for that, for your courage to show up here. You know, there's that saying that goes 80% of success is simply showing up. And I couldn't agree more. Probably the most difficult part about going to the gym is getting there, literally showing up. It's the other 20% is like, once I'm there, it's easy, right? And those presentations, 80% of success is really getting to the point where we can actually be here and deliver that. So, Carolyn, there is a lot that you are doing that is working really well. And I'm so pleased to see that. You have wonderful variation in your voice. I liked the way that you were stopping and pausing a little bit here or there. You had, you varied your pitch even. And so, you know, you kind of took it up and down like that, and you can go back and watch this recording to go and watch yourself if you want to. It is, yeah, really good to see. It was a nice pace. You weren't too fast. I didn't think you were too slow. You were just going at a nice pace, which I thought was really good. I thought possibly what you could do is go through your presentation again and create some. Remember when we spoke about the 3 characteristics of being of great speakers? One of them was being dynamic, and the way that makes us what makes us dynamic is contrast. So creating conscious contrast in the way that we show up is something that will be really powerful for you to do. So at times, really speed it up and get to the part where you can just kind of blah, 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 and then at other times really slow it down and bring it to what it is that you sorry, my mind just went to Ruth. Actually, I was wondering how she was getting on there. I don't know, my brain just did that. But yeah, so at other times, so creating that contrast, then it's not all the same, because the minute anything becomes all the same, it becomes predictable to our mind, and then we can lose interest that way. I loved your images. I really, really love your images. You're using AI, aren't you, for creating your images? You're so on trend, Carolyn Rom. It's one of the biggest, so on trend. It is actually one of the biggest trends that I discovered going forward for 2024 is people using AI generated images, bright, bold colors in their presentations, and beautiful images, because people we want to be wowed. If we think about watching TV, we think about cinematography, we think about, we're so used to seeing such beautiful imagery and movies and all of that sort of thing. When it gets to presentations, some people are like, me, I'm going to take a photo, cut it out, put it on the page, that's it. And it's like, no, it's, I love what you've done with the branding. I love what you've done. It's colorful, it's bright, and it's beautiful. The one thing that I wasn't sure about in terms of the mountain was what it related to.
That's a good point. So it relates to the fact that when you're working with data, you actually are climbing a mountain, because you can't just take the raw data. You have to build it together and build the story that you're telling with it.
Okay, so maybe incorporate that, because I wasn't sure how that was linked to the mountain. And what you could do, even in that beautiful image that you've got there, is every now and again bring in the person's name that you're referring to, or bring in a quote of theirs that you're referring to, for the visual people who also like to read stuff, because from what I understand, that also increases our level of retention. So your photos are great, your voice is great. Did you notice the difference, Will, when after I'd asked Carolyn to talk to us and look at your face and look at my face and talk to us? What did you notice there that changed?
I felt that Caroline was actually talking to me. I felt part of the process.
Beautiful. How did you feel before that?
Slightly disconnected.
Okay. What do you think created that disconnection for you as
it was
an audience member?
And I get it, Carolyn, because my goodness gracious, I've done it. I don't know how many times as I'm reading my notes and I'm forgetting about who I'm talking to, and it being on the receiving end, it really is quite it's quite a powerful change.
Beautiful.
Real powerful. It's good.
Beautiful. And I really love that you experienced that and saw that, because oftentimes I think, and this is something that every single one of us in the world has fallen into the habit of doing, or that we've done before, is like getting on into the presentation and putting on the presenter voice. I'm like, I'm here to now tell you all about this presentation. But actually, the trend as well for 2024 is less of that, more authenticity amplified, bringing our authenticity and literally having, the chat. And so, Carolyn, what I would love to see a bit more of from you is your personality. And I know that you're talking about data, but I know that you're passionate about this shit. Like, I mean, if ever there was a person on this planet who was passionate about data, it's you. It blows my mind. I'm so grateful that you are. Someone in the world has to be. But
hell yeah.
I wanted to hear a bit more of the excitement. It's almost like these are your discoveries. How can you share your discoveries with us and go, this is my discovery? Like, there's this beautiful image and you're talking about stuff that you're really passionate about. And I'm wondering, what can you do to connect more to the energy that you have when you're talking about it? And to When I see you one-on-one, or we just have chats and we're all just chatting, there's a lot more of your sort of almost snarky but like clever sort of personality that comes through and shines through. And I would love to see that on stage with you, because I think that it's you, and I think that's what makes you so funny and makes you so engaging for me. And so excuse me, you asked about the beginning. It did work. I thought you could have set it up even more, and you can walk up something along the lines of, I've got some, and you can create the contrast. Remember, it's all about that contrast. So I thought that there was a slight contrast. I liked how you dipped your voice when you were talking about the statistics, because you matched the energy to the how shit this is. But what I thought you could possibly do was pre-frame it a bit more and kind of go, I'm about to give you some really bad news. So I want you to brace yourselves. It's going to be shit. It's going to be terrible. The good news is that we're not going to stay there, but I'm going to drop some news on you, and then we're going to move on from there. You ready for it? Everybody ready? Right. These are the statistics. Something like that, perhaps. Play with that. Make it your own version of that. But then you can go, right, now we're going to lift things up, and because sometimes when we're giving people really bad news, we can actually just drop it on them. And then lift it up. But sometimes if we tell them that, sometimes it just depends on the context and how you deliver it and that sort of thing. But it's like, if I know that you're about to drop a bomb on me, I can brace myself, I can handle the bomb, and I know that we're going up afterwards. I'm like, okay, cool. This is not going to stay for too long. And I've got Hope Joanna right there and then. So I liked how you thanked me after the great introduction in a virtual context. I wouldn't do that on stage. I would just get up there and just go straight into the presentation. But I thought you read the room well by doing that, because in this kind of setting where there were only two of us, it would have been really weird if you kind of just got on and you didn't say, oh, thanks so much, or something to that effect. I kind of felt like maybe there was that. Conversely as well, Carolyn, I've been on virtual events before where I've delivered presentations and literally just went straight into the presentation. So I think it's about trusting your gut in the moment about what feels right. And I don't think that there is a hard and fast rule for everything. There will be some context along the way where you'll need to go, okay, there are 3 people in the room, like, thank you, let's go. But I thought you handled that really well. I also thought, though, that what you could do is you don't need to, when you start your presentation, you don't need to start with, so today we're going to talk about, and then read your first slide. We've already all read the first slide, plus you were introduced, and I said, this is what it is about. I would go straight in with, I'm about to drop a bomb on you. Are you ready? I need you to brace yourselves. Go to that, and now you've got my freaking attention. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. Overall, I loved it. I thought that you did a great job. Do you know what it feels like for me when I watched you doing that? It's organized. Like, I just felt like you were really organized. I loved you brought the 3 points on of where you were taking us, so that my mind goes, oh, you're only going to talk about 3 things. That was so clear. I don't know when last I've seen somebody do it as clearly as what you've done it, Carolyn, and it makes my heart so happy.
You're a bit happy about that, eh?
Oh my God, because you know why? And you did it so beautifully, because you used 3 images plus the 3 words of what we were going to talk about. And it's just so simple, and it is so clean, and I know exactly where we're going. And so I think that the, some of the real art of presenting is making really complex stuff very simple. And so you've done that. Well done. I thought you did a great job. Well done.
Thank you so much.
From a virtual presenting, just quickly, just lastly, just from a virtual presenting, I thought you did great. I thought, as I said to you, and this is for both of you, you take your script. If you don't have a teleprompter, I'm looking into teleprompters for 2024 because I'd like to be doing more MC work, and I think having that will just take it up a notch. But if you take your script and you put it just either side of the camera, so kind of like that, and then make your font bigger so that if you're not wearing glasses or whatever, so that it's easy to see. And then I've got this trackpad here that I use for my Mac. And so it's really easy because I've got my laptop on a stand. And so it's just really easy. I just scroll up like that with the words as I'm going. But I think in order to do that really well, it requires a lot of practice, knowing what you're going to say. And here's the other thing, Carolyn, were you reading everything?
So initially I was, and then I was kind of picking out those key points and talking about them.
Beautiful. I could hear that there was a bit more reading in the beginning, but you did sound.
So interestingly that you mentioned that, what I did is I modified my initial slide, which I then didn't end up using the modification when I was doing the presentation, to weave in some of the pieces that had been highlighted in the previous day of the conference. Because a lot of what had been discussed earlier in the conference actually feeds into this, the subjects I'm talking about, in terms of collections, arrears, cost of living crises, and all of that sort of thing. And the fact that people are sitting in early arrears, so pertains specifically to this, through nothing that they've done wrong per se, other than just shit, life is just a lot more expensive than it was this time last year. So I wanted to bring in some of that, but as it turns out, because I didn't have my updated presentation on the thingy, which was fine, I just mentioned a couple of those pieces, and mostly, and also I had done a lot more of the pursing then than I'd done yesterday. So
that's okay.
I knew it a hell of a lot better. So I just needed a few key words rather than, okay. And now let me read from my little screen.
No, you did really well. I didn't find it too hectic in terms of okay, Carolyn's reading the whole fucking thing. Like, I think it was I could just hear in your voice that there was a bit more reading, and then it sounded a lot more relaxed and flowing when you weren't. And so I think it does get to that point where, like, even for me, when I recently did my MC gig, they gave me a brief, they gave me a full script, and then I went and I made it my own, and I brought some personality to it, and I just rehearsed the shit out of it, so that while I was talking, because I didn't have a teleprompter, I could glance down, scroll up, and then look to the camera and talk about, this is how this feature works, or this is how this feature works. So that's my advice to you both from a virtual space. Get your script under the camera lens, as close to the top as you possibly can. If you look in your Word document, right at the top of the Word document, you can actually hide. Do you know how you can see home? You can actually go and hide
the
that.
ribbon, yeah.
Hide the ribbon, thank you, that's the word. So that your script goes even higher, closer to the camera. So that your eye level is not, because you don't want your Carolyn, when you first started, you were looking down here, and then all of a sudden the connection, which is what Will's talking about, really came online again when you started looking more at us. Also in a virtual space, and then I'll shut up and hand over to Will, and I'd like you to also have the opportunity, Will, if you'd like to share some thoughts with Carolyn. But from a virtual space as well, it is really important to, when we're talking, you'll notice now, look where my eyes are, I'm looking directly in the camera, and now I'm looking at you, Carolyn, and now I'm looking at you, Will. And so when we're even, like, one of the most important things is when you're doing the virtual is to look in camera. And obviously look at your script a little and come up again, look at your script a little and come up again. But that is, even when you're being interviewed or you're being asked questions, I know that it's tempting for us to want to look at the people in the room to see their faces and their expressions, and have a quick glance and then look back when you're talking to them. Have a quick glance and look back up again at them. People understand that we're in a virtual space. We will look around. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
It is. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So, Will, just a couple of minutes, just some thoughts that maybe you want to share with Carolyn, some stuff that really worked for you. If there's anything that you thought as an audience member, Carolyn can look at doing better. I believe that it is essential for us all to share, because there is so much gold that comes from each person doing this, and your ability to give feedback as well. So please go ahead, Will.
Excellent. So, Carolyn, for me, I think the biggest compliment I've got for you right now is, would you do data on waste streams and collections and in the waste industry. Because if you will, then we need to have a
you on
yarn
mute?
because
Sorry, Carolyn, are you on mute?
me.
Sorry,
Carolyn.
no, I was on mute.
Sorry.
I thought that. That's
No
okay.
worries.
That's okay.
Yes. Sorry, I do any kind of data stuff.
Great.
So yeah.
That'd be awesome. We're not quite ready yet, but one of the key things that the waste industry is lack on is information. You know, and that's why the changes and everything that we've been waiting for to happen is there's had to be waste audits right throughout the country. You know, there is still really no data around food waste. So part of our system, and hopefully
Now,
after the presentation you'll get an understanding, and I'll shut up now. Yes, Bonita?
I'm going to stop you there. And I love how excited you get whenever you talk about your stuff. Let's stay focused on giving Carolyn feedback on her presentation.
So, bloody, so you brought this out of me, Carolyn, and it's fantastic. So your presentation's worked on me because you've sold me on what you do.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Wow.
Great result. Absolutely. Well, we can set up some time and chat about it and work out how, what, etc., because there will be loads.
There is.
Thank you, Will. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on to you, Wilster?
The only other thing I need to do is I have never shared a presentation before, so this is going to be
good,
funny. It's going to be entertaining.
Going to be great.
Well, it will be. It's probably going to crack me up, but that's all right. Carolyn, that was awesome. It really was, and you sold me. So there you have it.
I love it.
Thanks, Will.
Good feedback.
That's really awesome. And also your feedback before about the changes that you noticed. Sometimes it is just the smallest changes that we make. Shut up, I keep hearing 1%. That actually make the biggest difference. And so,
yes.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Awesome. Yay, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a celebrating drink for you, Caroline. Well done. I should never have poured that one. Yes.
No, I'll pour a little drinky and have one with you at the end of this.
No worries. Yeah, I've got a whole bottle beside me. Don't worry. It's just I'm not swimming later.
Yes, I'm not either, apparently.
Oh shit!
All right,
I've
now,
lost
Will.
You. Yes. Oh,
you let me know when you're ready. Do you know how to share the screen? Do you need support with that?
Possibly, but I'm going to give it a crack, Nigel. For some reason,
yes,
when I do my, hang on, let's do this. Oh shit, it worked. Can you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. Share. No.
All right, let me take you through it really quickly.
This is a Google. This is Google thingy.
Okay, so what you need to do is put your presentation in presenter mode. So put it in presenter mode, like you're sharing the presentation.
Yeah, I'm just, so it's got slideshow, presenter view.
There you go, that's what you want.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, now you're going to come. No,
No.
now you're going to come back to Zoom.
Uh-oh.
Click on Zoom again.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Now, at the bottom of the three little windows that you see all of us here, you'll see that there are some buttons right at the bottom, and one at the bottom will say share screen.
Yes.
Now click on that, and then it's going to show you a whole bunch of windows that you can choose from.
Yes, it does. Do you know that it actually doesn't show the bloody window that I've got my presentation in?
So you should see a share screen 1 and
Yeah,
share
I've got the
screen
share
2.
screen, and it's brought up the other apps that I've got. Should I close all of those out, do you think?
No, you don't need to close them out.
It's not showing the slideshow, interestingly.
So how many screens do you have in front of you?
Oh, shit. I have, what do you mean, how many screens? I've got one screen. It's attached to my computer.
Okay, so you've got one screen. Okay, so I've got 3, which is the reason I'm asking.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can share the screen that you've got in front of you, or you could share the app itself.
Oh, gosh, this is a little bit frustrating.
No, it's all good. Well, let me quickly show you here. So if
Yep, sorry. I can see share screen.
So if you share that screen and then you click on your presentation,
but
so click on share screen.
The issue is that my presentation screen, so what I've got here in this window is I've got our meeting, and which is this, it's saying screen, and then I've got my telephone, which is showing up, calculator, search bar, an Excel spreadsheet I've been working on, and not my presentation.
Okay, so click on share screen, just because I suspect that what you'll find is, because are you in the Zoom in a Google tab?
My presentation is in a Google tab.
Yes, but is your Zoom also in a Google tab, or is it in the app?
It's in a Google tab.
So share that screen. No, that's fine. Share your screen that has got your Zoom in it, and then you're going to click on the app on the tab next to it. So just share your screen.
Carolyn, you're doing really well there.
So
what the hell?
Can you see where it
so
says
it's come up with
just
sign in to Zoom. Do I have to be in Zoom or something for this?
No, you shouldn't. I don't think you should
just
have
chuck
to
me straight out to that. Oh, frustrating. Okay, I'm just going to close a whole lot of stuff here that's not required.
Okay. Will?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you something quickly. Do you have Zoom installed on your computer? You only access it via the internet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think that it's in the same Google tab. It's just in another tab.
Are you able to take a screen? Yeah.
Screenshot?
Yes. Show us what when you push.
Print screen, is it? Don't laugh.
Okay.
It's not funny.
Unless hop on a WhatsApp call with me. A video call. I'm going to call you.
We'll do that.
And then you can show me what I'm looking at. How about that?
I'm good with that.
All right, let's see what we can do here. Will, great.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Awesome. Okay, show me your screen there.
Can you see that?
Yes, I see myself. Hi, Will.
Hi. See up there, that's it there.
What?
That's the...
okay.
Oh, shit. There we go.
Go into Zoom again for me.
Ooh. Sorry?
How come you've got me on your big screen, though?
I don't know.
That's really weird. Okay. Go to the top. What are the tabs that you go into? Okay. No, sorry. Hold on. There we go. Let's do that. At the bottom of your Zoom there, click on share screen, please. What are the 3 tabs that you've got at the top there, Will?
These ones, or these ones up here?
Just in the Zoom window that you're looking at now, what are the 3 tabs you've got there?
There's the basic, advanced, and files.
Basic, advanced, and files. Basic, advanced, files. You don't have apps. So go back to basic.
Yep.
Do you see?
So there's our Zoom screen.
Do you have, is that Google? Is that the Google window?
Yeah, it must be. It's exactly what you're looking at now.
Okay, click on that for me. Double click on that. Now, I want you to please share. Go and click on your presentation in the presentation tab.
Okay. Hang on, I'll
Where's your
just
prezi?
Oh, this damn thing's just. Oh, there we go. It's gone away now. There we have it.
There you go. Beautiful.
Go. Well done.
Was that doing it?
Yeah.
That's it. We can see it.
Have you turned? Okay. Happy days.
Now, if you just want to make that full screen, because if you were presenting this to other people, we can see all the other tabs that you've got open, which is not a massive problem. But how would you make that full screen, Kaz? Just so that we can all learn from this process together here. As
that's weird. There is a there's a button up the top right that I can't get at.
Okay, why don't we leave it for now, and you just take us through the presentation. I'm going to do an introduction for you as well, as if I were the MC. So go back to the beginning.
But the problem there, Bonita, is that some of the things in my presentation won't actually do its thing.
Why? What do you mean?
Oh, I even managed to get a fade out and a fade in, and that animation, the animations don't work, so the video won't work in this format.
That's okay. Just take us through what you've got right now.
Okay.
And we'll, at the end of this, I am going to need to support you offline, I think, in how to actually do some virtual stuff, because this is just way too complicated. I think you've got to get some apps downloaded, which will help you immensely.
I got a guy to come in and set my computer up to do all this stuff, but he's obviously not. There's something that's not been done right, because I'm a bit of a technophobe, but I'm not that bad.
No, you're all good.
The thing is, it sounds like your computer can do all the stuff that it needs to do from a computing point of view, but which apps you want is not necessary. Maybe he misunderstood.
Look, entirely possible.
And so with that, Will, just up to 10 minutes so that we can get an idea of what you're doing. But here we are back again, ready for our next presenter to hop on stage and to tell us about how he is saving the planet one waste at a time with his amazing solutions, Earth Starch Organic Solutions. Please welcome CEO and founder, Will Hansen. Welcome, Will.
Thank you, Bonita. Great introduction. Can I start with getting a show of hands as to who actually separates their food waste from general rubbish? Is there anybody in the room that does that? What? Really? Both. Congratulations. It's absolutely not what I was expecting.
Oh. No, actually, I don't. Sorry. No.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's great. So we've got a 50%. I'm much more comfortable with that. Thank you. So let's look at food waste in New Zealand. There is over 2 million tonnes a year of organic waste that goes to landfill. 2 million tonnes. Let's put that into a little bit of visual perspective for you. This here is Mount Eden Park, New Zealand's Auckland rugby paddock of. Now, this is filled floor to ceiling, end to end, side to side, 5 times a year is what 2 million tonnes looks like. 5 times a year. It's a lot. It's a lot. So what's government doing about it? The legislation at the moment is that by 2030, there will be a 100% landfill diversion of organic waste. Currently, what are our options to handle this? Unfortunately, they're all centralized. So composting, as we know, is a popular, it's an ancient method of looking after organic material. It takes a huge amount of space. And as you know from recent news reports, numerous composting operations have been closed down due to environmental issues. So then the other option is vermicomposting or worm farming. Now this process takes 12 months before they can get a finished product. So you could imagine for 2 million tonne just how much land you would require to take care of all of that. Then of course, waste to energy. This is the latest child in New Zealand, being popular in Europe, overseas. Here, again, this is handling all of Auckland's food waste, and it's based in Taupo. So with all these 3 centralized systems, how do we get it there? We need to use 40,000 truck and trailer movements every year, each weighing 50 tonne. So that's a lot of wear and tear on the road and a lot of trucks every day. So a quick snapshot, we've got 2 million tonnes of organic waste, which is a huge volume. At the moment, the only way of handling that is centralized systems. The net result of that is 40,000 plus truck journeys every year. Did you like that? Earth SOS. Maybe there's a new way of looking at things. In Upper Hutt, we have set up a trial system that's been processing food waste. This image is of our reactor, Rosie, and Rosie, named after the cantankerous maid in the Jetsons. It's nothing better than that, apart from my love for the Jetsons. Here we have a look at the container series that we've built in Upper Hutt. And on the right there, you can see the pre-treatment system. So this is where the material comes in. We decontaminate it. We reduce the size of it in our shredder, and then it goes into the Rosie. So you get a sense of automation and very, very limited hands-on from us humans. So typically, this is what our food waste looks like when it comes in. Not always that clean. And then we have my video that shows the food waste going onto the conveyor belt and into the shredder, and then going
Try to
into
push
Rosie.
play.
Oh, one moment. It's it's spooling. Do you want to see it, or shall I just go past it?
Hop on to the next one, Will.
Done. So, organics into soil, 4 hours. Using a footprint of 150 square meters, we can turn 2,000 tons of organic waste into soil 4 hours every year. May not be any surprise, but the abattoir and the dairy industries, the commercial waste is where a bulk share of our organic waste comes from. And it's a concern to these to the industry, because at the moment it's purely a cost overhead. Here we've got an image of a site in Taoyuan, and this is a commercial plant that processes 30,000 tons every year, and its size is 800 square meters, which is, if this was composting or worm farming, it's at least 10% of the the required space. So let's look at the food service and domestic waste. Let's see if we can create a container series that sits inside a community. So then we can see waste coming in and soil coming out. And that, Bonita, might just help you start to separate your food waste again in the future. If we liken this to the Wellington region, which is where I'm from, we could put 23 units scaled to suit the volume of waste throughout the region, reduce the number of trucks to zero because we won't be needing such large sizes, and create 150 jobs in the process. Something we can humanize the waste industry. Christ knows what that's supposed to be. So let's recap here. 2 million tons of organic waste. By taking a bite out of it, but like eating an elephant, we can deal with it more efficiently and humanize the waste industry. We can do away with the need of large centralized systems that require huge areas of space, time to process and constant feeding. And we can eliminate the 40,000 plus truck movements every year. Now we can engage people within our community. We can set up community gardens using our soil. We can teach people how to grow and take that knowledge and take it home. So come be part of the movement. Bada boom.
Well done, Will.
Very
I got to
good.
tell you, Carolyn, I wish that you actually saw Will when he first worked with me years ago. Will, you and I worked together ages ago. Would you stop sharing your screen for now, please?
I'm sorry. Stop share.
There you go. No need to be sorry. I wish you could have seen Will. And it's also because over the years you've developed your concept, you've developed Rosie, you've developed everything. But honestly, Will, from where you were when you first started with me many years ago now, and where you are today and what you delivered, I'm so impressed with your progress. I really love, especially the way that you're presenting your concept, your idea to potential buyers, investors, all of that sort of stuff. I just think that the caliber of imagery, I really like the visuals that you're using. That especially the stadium is such a powerful visual, and to be able to show that level of perspective in the way that you did that, brilliant. So well done on doing that. I think that's really awesome. I love how you've brought your branding, and your branding is lovely. It's clean. The colors are beautiful, and all obviously works with the whole eco-friendly color theme that you've got going on as well. I love your logo. So all of that stuff is well done. The visuals that you used at the end there were also, for me, I thought inspiring. I thought that they were, you can see a lady in her garden, all the possibilities. So you were using images to create inspiration, which I thought was really good. There's a great use of statistics, Will. So actually you're really good at bringing in statistics as well, which I thought was really good. I'm going to give you both the same feedback with this. And when I do that, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to share my screen and show you something really quickly. So I just need to find where I've actually saved it. So if you can just give me a moment. No, not there. Yes. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm going to quickly share this with you. Go to Zoom. I'll write share screen. Here you go. Here we are. Okay. So this is the way that I'm presenting the speaker trends of 2023. And I want you to have a look at your statistics that you've got on your slides, or just think about your slides that you've got statistics. If you think about every single new thing that you bring on a slide, so Will, what we've seen now is very simple animations work very well in the virtual space. Or, big flick flacks and things like that, unfortunately, don't work so well. But the very simple fade in, fade out, or that's a great one. Just to create a little bit of, bada bing, bada boo, a little bit of a reveal is brilliant. Videos, unfortunately, in the virtual space don't work very well, just purely because of bandwidth and all of that sort of stuff, processing. But I want you to have a look at just very simply how I've put down these statistics. And within a glance, so Nancy Duarte speaks about the glance test, and she says that you should basically, within 3 seconds, your audience should be able to get the idea of what you're talking about. I talk to all of these points, and I'm just going to go through them really, really quickly there. Would you all be able to look at that and possibly remember all of that? I mean, there are 10 things there. But look at how simple I made it. Yep. Really, really simple. You could take a screenshot of this if you were in my audience and you really wanted to keep it. But I'm planning on putting together a trends document, so I don't invite people to do that necessarily. We don't need too many words. As long as you're talking to it, remember it's a presentation. It's not a handout. You can give them a handout at the end of your presentation with all of the statistics in it. For them to go and read your long sentences of statistics. But the shorter you make it, Carolyn, even with you, still with your statistics, and I know that you also brought them down even since we first spoke, I still thought they could have been simplified even more. And the reason for that is I had to read. And the brain can't do read and listen at the same time most of the time. It's just too hard. And so when it becomes hard basket, the audience is going to get annoyed. The audience is going to get tired, and the audience is going to be fatigued, and they're not going to listen. So both of you go and have a look at your statistics, shorten them. And if you want the black on white, which is what you did, Carolyn, I thought that you did that very well, by the way. I liked the black on white like that with the statistics. I thought that's absolutely fine. Will, I thought for you with the eating the elephant right at the end there, I thought there was a great opportunity for you to bring in a visual of an elephant, maybe a little bit of a shy elephant or something like that you could look at and go, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And the elephant's like, I don't know. There's something there. There's some humor there. I saw that you brought in some moments of comedy where you could have brought in maybe a little bit more. My invitation to you is how can you sort of tease those moments out a bit more? Yep. One thing I want you to please stop doing is just get rid of the fact that you're shit at technology, start changing that belief and start adopting the atomic habit of going, I'm going to get 1% fucking better at this every single time I deliver a presentation.
You're going to be a convert. I love it.
Yeah, okay.
So, and the reason I say that, Will, is because you become your own worst critic during your own presentation. Oh, look at that. Oh, it worked. Oh, wow. Get rid of all of that stuff. No, the audience doesn't care.
Yep.
The audience doesn't care whether you're actually good at navigating technology or not. It's like the magician commenting on his magic tricks while people are watching him. And what it does is, in acting, we have what's called the fourth wall. And what it does is it actually removes the magic of it. Is it the third wall or the fourth wall? Shit, I forget now. Hold on, I've got to Google that. Is it the third or fourth wall? In movies, we have, it's the fourth wall. Yes, thank you. So it refers to the imaginary wall between the actors and the audience. The same is true for a presentation, fourth wall. Let me write that down again because I like this point. When we comment on our own technology or our own fumbles, or fumbles are different, but our own technology or how the mechanics of how we're presenting while we're presenting, we lose magic. It's like when I watched Avatar for the very first time with the 3D glasses, I didn't want to believe for a moment that it wasn't real, that it didn't actually exist, that it wasn't a reality somewhere in the universe. I wanted to, with every fiber of my being, I wanted to be an Avatar. I've never felt that way before as much as I did with that movie. But then I went and watched a bit of the making of Avatar, which then kind of took away a little bit of that magic. And it's the same thing. So please stop doing that. Yeah. Just let your technology do what it does. Yep. Because that way you keep your audience with you. Will, I thought that you And this is something that you've done throughout the whole speaker circle thing, because it's absolutely fine when we're in a learning space. But when you're going to deliver a presentation, notice where my eye level is. In fact, it's probably a bit high. I see myself looking a little bit up. But try to get your camera. If anything, I can take a photo and I'll show you what my setup looks like. Very dirty lens. And it is, I'll send that through to the WhatsApp group. But essentially, you want your camera eye level. You want your whole setup to be so that you're looking at us eye to eye, shoulder to shoulder. At the moment, you're looking down at us.
Is that more better?
That's much better. Tilt down, tilt your whole screen down. Even better. Oh my God. That change is so big. Do you know, Will, how would you feel if a 7-foot rugby player came and stood and towered over you?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Never even gave it a thought. So there you go.
No, all good. And this is why we're here, right? And so when we look down at people, it creates a sense of I'm superior, you're inferior. When we're looking eye to eye with people, we're all on the same page. And when we're looking up at people, it's exactly the opposite as well. So make sure that your laptop's eye level there with a camera eye level.
Wow.
I really enjoyed, I could see that you were using your voice with a bit of variation in it, in the pitch and the tone, which I thought was really good. I need you to go and practice creating flow for yourself, Will. When you're talking, there's a bit of a habit of staccato sort of, and it almost feels like you're buffering. And I want to get a sense of you flowing a little bit more. And I think that that's going to come on board when you practice more, but also I think that there may be something that you're believing about your voice or about the presentation or about your content, something in there for you to go and explore, Will, that may be sort of stopping you a little bit.
Yes.
What comes up to you as I say that?
That's very fair. That's very fair. Largely what I've noticed is as I've been doing new presentations or I'm discovering more about the business and what I've learned in the journey.
Yeah.
And because I do tend to get a little bit passionate about it now, I get myself confused a little bit with the message that I want in my target market, because for us the breadth of our market is huge. So this presentation was to councils or to smaller councils, right? Not to the large commercial. So it's me trying to sort of tailor it, but I'm also trying to
as you're going.
Yeah. Well, I was trying not to have notes, because what I've found is if I have notes, then I start to read it, and I was trying to avoid doing that and feeling that I know my business inside out. I'm hoping that I can ad-lib it a little bit, but I'm so work in progress, let's say.
Aren't we all? So put your laptop down and just relax about
Thank
the
you,
angle.
because it's hurting my hands.
just relax about it now. In future, just even if you take a few books and you put it on top of a few books, that's perfect.
Yeah. I'll just kneel.
Okay, so Will, here's the thing for me. Don't take notes, but if you need to, put bullet points, and if it's for a particular audience, use bullet points to keep yourself on track. The other thing is go and rehearse your ass off in terms of, this is one client I'm talking to, this is one potential customer, this is one potential whoever it might be. The more you rehearse that, the better it's going to be. The other thing I wanted to say as well is Rosie. I wanted to see a picture of Rosie in the it's not the Simpsons, it's the Jetsons.
Yep.
Because a lot of people are not necessarily going to know what you're talking about.
Gotcha.
Depending on how old they are. And we all do. I think Carolyn, do you remember the Jetsons? Oh, okay.
What?
So go and get a picture of Rosie and let her come and make an appearance. She doesn't have to stay for long, but just so that people can get an idea on that as well. And that was pretty much all the notes that I took. So I think overall, Will, I am really happy with your progress that you've made. Your biggest, I think, focus right now is to create flow for yourself.
Yes.
But Will, it's not only even it's not only even when you're just presenting; it's when you're talking as well. There is a sense of, and I'm not sure if you're editing yourself in your mind as you're talking or presenting, but there is a sort of, it takes a bit of time to come out what you want it to say. And I'm not sure if it's because you're looking for the precise words or what might be happening for you.
Good point. And you're right. And don't know. I will consider that one and see if I can find out why.
My invitation to you is I'm going to go put this up on YouTube in an unlisted, so only people with a link will be able to find this. Don't worry about it. But I want you to go back and watch your presentations, both of you, and go and see if you can see what we discussed today. Go and see if you can see that for yourself. And go then, and while you're watching it, Will, ask yourself the question, what was I thinking about, or what was going on for me in my mind while I was presenting that could have been slowing me down?
Yep. Yes.
Because I know
absolutely.
you know your stuff. I know you know what you're talking about because, like, God, you've been doing this for years, so you know your content. You know what I mean? So,
totally.
Carolyn, over to you. Just a couple of 2 minutes, if that's okay, and then I'm just gonna, because I know that you need to go at the in 10 minutes time. So,
okay. To me, your passion about your subject really came through. I mean, everything Bonita's talking about notwithstanding, I thought that it was really clear how well you know this stuff, how passionate you are about it. And for me, with my very layperson's view on presentations, I find that super engaging. So I thought that was very, very awesome. It did make me want to ask questions about what you're doing. And I was like, oh, I want to know more. So I thought that was really cool.
Awesome.
I was very focused on listening to what you were saying and following the pictures. And when you had the picture of Rosie on the thing, and you were saying it on the right hand side, you can see where the stuff goes in. I was going, oh yes, I can. So I must admit, didn't even notice that you were or weren't looking up at the camera or down at the camera. I'm oblivious. Sorry, Bonita.
no, you're all good. And these are things that subconsciously may not be conscious for people, but if you notice a presenter, if you notice the difference, Carolyn, what did you notice when Will changed the height?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know you're
it's
not.
just one of those things that I would never, ever have picked up. Because what I picked up was that you're hugely passionate about your topic. You obviously know your detail. I wasn't quite as observant as Bonita's outlined about your hesitancy when speaking was like, oh yes, there was that, because there were times when you were just in the flow of speaking and then it came across very naturally. So yeah, I think maybe that's a bit of practice or a bit of familiarity or a bit of, oh, hang on, I actually know what the tech is doing. And that really is just write yourself the idiot's guide too, and then it becomes easy.
Yep. Yeah, good point. Yep.
Really good advice.
I know when
Carolyn.
I'm faffing around with new tech, it's like, what the fuck am I doing here? And then it's a little bit like, but once you've done it a handful of times and you've been through it, I mean, just phone a friend and say, right, I'm just going to use you as my guinea pig. Like, let me just make sure I'm pressing the right buttons and doing the right things in the right order. And then I write myself handy tips like step 1, step 2. And even if step 2 is take the damn lid off the pen, I write it down because that way I can't screw it up.
Carolyn, that's such a good point. And I just want to jump in there because when I do emceeing or presenting of any kind whatsoever, I will write myself personal notes. Put a glass of water out. Get your lip gloss. Put your lip gloss there. Get your powder and put it there. Put your pen over here. I have practiced every single detail of where my microphone is, of where my props are, of where any technology that I'm using. I have practiced it Practice it, because what happens in the brain when something is new for us? It's quite if we think about the first time we were driving, any of us, vroom, 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 we're kind of just trying to get the whole thing going. Now,
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know how I got to my brother's house. I just drove here, and it was like, because we're autopilot. And so the
Yep.
same for you, Carolyn. That's such good advice to Will. With
Mm.
your technology, go and practice it and get good at it. Make that a goal for 2024, Will, that technology is going to be your friend. You befriend technology, because I can tell you right now that if technology is no longer in your way and you're not using that to hold yourself back anymore, dude, the sky is the limit. Seriously.
Yep. That'll be my my 1% for the
Beautiful,
1st of January.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I
I
really
will
love
do
that.
that. It frustrates me. This technology, this bloody computer is doing my head, and it's new. And yes,
Exactly.
anyway,
And so even with that, it frustrates me. Take acknowledgement there and see the under
yes,
responsibility that's playing out there and go, I
yeah,
frustrate myself in the face of technology. And own
yes,
that for yourself. Because
yes,
when you own it, then you can change it and go,
yeah,
I'm going to choose to no longer frustrate myself in the face of technology, because we're making friends now. And
yeah.
you can shift that for yourself, Will. It's all what we choose to believe about. And so, that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Grooving. Done. It will happen.
Now, Carolyn, do you have an extra 5 minutes for us to go over?
I do have an extra 5 minutes.
Wonderful. I really am so gutted that obviously Ruth couldn't be here with us today, as I know that she would have liked to have probably contributed and shared and been a part of it. What that's meant, though, is it's given you both more time to sort of do your things, which is also really lovely. I want to acknowledge the both of you for how far you have come and for your commitment to being here. I know that there have been many things that have happened along the way that have made us sort of extend our time together. But in a way, I'm really grateful for that, because I think it's given also an opportunity that otherwise you wouldn't have had to go and integrate a lot more of the learning. And I think that shows definitely in Carolyn's. And I'm just going to quickly see if I can pull that up here. It really does show in Carolyn's results. I'm going to quickly take that, Carolyn, with your permission to show that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So Will, you'll get one of these as well eventually when you do yours, my friend. And here we go. So this is the speaker stage report. It has been created with my over 20 years of being in presenting. I don't yet have a large data pool from which I am drawing this, just as a disclosure, and I'll only tell you that, nobody else. But it is, the more people are doing it, the better it's becoming for me. And it is still growing and developing into what it is. But this is, Carolyn, when you first started, I'm going to show you a graph of your results of where you started and where you went to. But essentially, the speaker stage is a diagnostic tool that helps us to understand and measure the 4 things that, for me, I believe in my framework are most essential to being a great presenter. And that is confidence, clarity, credibility, and connection. Because a person can have a lot of credibility but not much connection, or they can have a lot of clarity but actually very little confidence. But all 4 of those, when we're able to work on all 4 of those and we're able to develop them over time, that is when we start really seeing the beautiful increase. And so, typically speaking, to give you an idea, people come and work with me where they're working, and when they do, they work with me from a place of protection. Given the fact that 75% of the population experiences glossophobia, which is a fear of public speaking, most people have a certain level of protection that they still experience when they work with me. The stage after that is initiation. The stage after that is integration. And then the stage after that is connection. There are a couple of stages on either side of those, but these are the ones that I primarily focus on. Carolyn, when you first arrived and you started working with me, I just want to quickly get up your results again here one more time. For me, one moment, please, callers. As far as I understand, you were in a stage of protection. I'm just getting it out here, Carolyn Rom. Oh, you were actually already in a stage of initiation. You had already started initiating some change, but you have moved a whole stage up in your development, which I am really, really excited about. And so I'm going to show that to you now. Zoom. Oh, screen sharing has been paused. How do I get it back? Okay, stop. I'll have to share it again. Sorry, did some funny things. Where am I? Who am I? All right, here we go. Okay, and the next thing is, here are your results. So Carolyn, you have moved into, and it doesn't show your stage, there are other pages that I'll send to you as well, but essentially 53.1% is the improvement percentage that you have shown. If you look over here, you'll see confidence. The darker bars are where you started, and have a look at where you have moved into.
Wow.
It is absolutely phenomenal. All out of 5, measuring confidence, clarity, credibility, and connection. The average, as Carolyn has now helped me work out, the average participation improvement is 23.9% so far. Carolyn, you are way above, and I think that is because of your commitment and your application to doing everything the way that you have. And I'm not going to go into too much more detail of that. I'll send you the report for you to go and read and for you to have a look at. But honestly, Will, can we give Carolyn a big
100%.
I just think that is amazing.
Well
Well done
done.
for such an awesome report. May I make one comment on your report?
Yes.
Your date formats are American.
Oh, let me have a look. Where are they? Oh, yes, they are, because it's from Canva. Thanks so much. I'll go change that.
Sorry, I can't bear American date formats. I know the
Amen.
Americans love them.
But I
did
never
think that, but
noticed it.
listen, those dates came in lastminute.com, so that's probably why.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's not a problem at all. I just thought I'd point it out.
Thank you. Carolyn, so, and Will, what I want to do with you really quickly here is just in 1 minute, I'm going to take you through a really quick, sorry, just 1 moment, please, callers. Right, we're there. Back into Zoom again. Okay, here you go. So this is where we started. We're going to go really quickly through your journey of where you started and where you are. This is the Speaker Circle program where we have taken a look at personal to develop your presence and your impact. We've taken a look at the practical side of things of what do you say and how do you put it all together, which I'm so proud of the both of you for doing so well, which has built your confidence and the ability to clearly influence one another and all of us. Your performance in the delivery style of it is also in building your credibility and your ability to inspire us, which I think both of you really did today, and my heart could not be happier. We did your Speaker Circle of Excellence, which you both created. And I believe for Carolyn and for, I don't know if you've used it, Will, but I know that for everybody who has been using their Circle of Excellence, it has just proven to be quite phenomenal. You have here the confidence building program that you have access to in your speaker toolkit. So please make sure if you haven't yet used it, it is available for you to use. Use it with earphones, standing in the PowerPoint, power pose, not PowerPoint position. You've got a speaker toolkit and inside. Inside of it, you have your 3-step process, the 3-step speaker guide. The first point is to plan. And we looked at your purpose, people, and point. The second part of it is to produce by ideating, collating, and consolidating. We had a look at the 3 most important characteristics of great speakers. You are authentic, which both of you have displayed today, empathetic also, and dynamic. And then we had a look at how to perform. And so we've looked at, the rituals that you can create for yourselves, how to rehearse, and how to actually go about delivering all of that. And so with that, I am so impressed with the both of you. I want us to have a look at some quick reflections before we say Auf Wiedersehen to Carolyn. But that is the journey, and we have actually covered so much in such a short space of time. And so what I'd like to invite each of you to do, and maybe Carolyn, you can go first for us, is as you saw all of that, what are some insights that you'd like to share with the group in terms of your experience of the journey? What are some celebrations that you can bring for yourself? What can you count for yourself that you feel that you can celebrate? What is one action that you will take from today that do differently? And then a gratitude. So 4 things, and I can guide you through all 4 of those. I'm not going to put them on the screen.
You're going to have to remind me. I'm very end of the year with my brain, I'm afraid.
What I will do is I'm going to pop them into the chat so that they're just there.
That sounds magical.
There you go.
There we go. So insights. You shared an extraordinary amount of information with us, which was just incredible. Probably for me, pulling together the presentation, you shared that template of the 3 things across. That for me was probably the most concrete way of doing things differently. So I can see, oh, yes, this I can do. It's like these fairly simple steps, and it lays it out, and then it becomes easy to create a presentation that flows much better. So that for me, that was a huge win. I mean, there were many, many insights. The way people think and see in colors versus here versus, how we process information. That was really interesting. Even how, we can speak and use our voice to change things. I'd never given that a thought. So loads of insights in that space. I really, really enjoyed that little bubble that we create, that we can step into. That was awesome. That was like a game changer in my world.
Beautiful.
That is one of the things I will take away whenever I need to kind of stand up in front of a crowd, because standing up in front of a crowd is whether virtually otherwise is actually still a thing. I think I've included a whole lot of insights and actions in there. Celebrations, I'm stoked I managed to do my presentation to ARCA. I was really pleased with that. I got some really, really good feedback from a whole bunch of people, completely unexpected. I've subsequently had to do a couple minute stand-up presentations here or there, and I now don't feel like, oh my god, I've got to stand in front of people to talk about. I can do this. I just have to breathe and step into my little bubble, and we'll be fine. So that's been amazing.
I love that.
And gratitude. Well, I'm just super grateful for everything that you've created here. Bringing us together, taking us through the steps, sharing your knowledge, your insights, your wisdom. I mean, you and I think very, very differently. And for me, it's amazing because you bring a whole bunch of stuff that honestly I would have just gone whoosh, and never dreamed of. And I think that's made a real difference just in terms of, I mean, I know, we've been working on this for a while, but just in terms of all the times that we've known each other and, your encouragement to bring more color into presentations and things as opposed to white page, black writing.
You've come so far. It makes my heart
worry about them. And if I was really pushing the boat out, I might use a very deep charcoal.
Yeah.
Very deep charcoal, Oh, we might be overcooking it there. Not too far right of the bend. Oh dear, let's watch that. So now there's just like as much color in my hair is now in my presentations.
I love that.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Well done.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Oh, Carolyn, thank you so much for all of that beautiful sharing. And it's been such what I really loved working with you. What I loved about working with you is your openness and your willingness, and and also at times where you challenged me and came back and said, yeah, but no, but not this, but this, which I think is also important. But I think probably what speaks to your results more than anything is your willingness to absorb, willingness to grow, willingness to learn new things and to take it on board and go and apply it, and to not just listen to it, but go actually do something about it. And I think that is it's so inspiring for me to see. And thank you. You make, the reason I do this just even more magical. So thank you. And I couldn't be more impressed with the way that you're delivering your presentations now. So yay. And now, Mr. Wilster, a couple of minutes from you, sir.
Right. Well, the formula was the big thing for me. The 3. I was trying to overload people with information, and it's so the circle, just crazy. You know, I don't know why, but for some reason I forgot what my happy place was. And being able to, on demand, create that wherever I am has just been amazing. Really. Got me through a few tight spots since you mentioned it. So bloody awesome. You know,
Wow.
and I have to say that this presentation thing has actually helped me design a brochure that I'm really happy with. You know, and I believe that the format works and it's all in line with your teachings. So it's had a massive impact on my business and how we're actually putting it out. So massive applause to you, Bonita. It's and a thank you for that. It's just bloody awesome. It really is. So that's all me bits in one. It's just been fantastic. So I know I have to create flow, and I'll be working on that.
Good. Well,
and learn
I honestly,
technology.
I think it really is just about making, some things. What is it? The unconscious competence is where it steps into, which I think is really beautiful. And we can talk more to that, I think, once we say goodbye to Carolyn. I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes, Will, and just kind of have a little bit of a yarn. But honestly, I'm so impressed with your. Thank you for sticking the course. I know that it hasn't been easy for you as well to do, and I am really grateful that you have also taken the learnings and that you've applied them, and that you have not allowed technology to stop you. Even though it's been little hurdles for you to jump over, you haven't allowed it to stop you completely. And I'm so, I can't wait to see what you do with all of this and with Rosie next year. I think it's, for me, it's all looking like you're ready to rock and roll. And so that is very exciting, Will. Very, very exciting indeed. And so I've honestly, the two of you are amazing. Thank you so much. You both know where I am. Will, you and I have got some mentoring sessions that we're going to look into doing in the new year. Carolyn, you know where I am as well. If there ever you're wanting to sort of move into that next level, you know my stuff probably as well as I bloody well do in terms of all of that stuff. But we will continue to support one another as we do, and our friendship will continue, as we go. So yes, stay in touch. I want to invite you and Ruth as well. If you watch this video, I'll send Ruth a link to watch as well. But I want to invite you all to stay in touch as much or as little as you want from here. If you have presentations that are upcoming, feel free to, I think, use the group if that's all okay with you all. And perhaps what we can do is in a couple of months, we can have another reunion and all get together for a little online hello and see how you're all doing and check in with one another. I think that would be really nice. That just happened to me now as a thought. I don't know if that would be of interest to all of you.
I'm good with that.
Awesome. I think that these very special spaces that we create here with all of us are, you've spent quite a lot of time together. And so I just think that, if we can continue to support one another in this beautiful space, why not? With that, thank you both so much. Carolyn, we're going to say Auf Wiedersehen to you. Go and swim the shit out of that ocean tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. I did my personal best last week, just shy of 25 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
So where are you swimming today?
So on Thursdays, we swim at Curry Bay. And there are 4 swims. There's a 500 meter, a kilometer, a 1.5 and a 2K swim. And this is the last time I'll be doing the 1K swim. From next year, I'll be picking up the 1.5 or the 2K swims.
Wow.
And on Saturday last week, I did my biggest swim ever. I swam just shy of 4 kilometers.
What?
Oh,
in the ocean?
My word.
Yeah.
Wow. Respect.
Wow.
That's no mean feat. Well done.
It was a beautiful, beautiful day. It's almost half a marathon in swimming terms. So a marathon in swimming terms is 10K.
Wow.
No, look, Carolyn, I mean, that is quite remarkable, honestly. Yeah. Very much go you. That is brilliant.
Well done.
Congratulations. So please keep us posted on how you go with all of that as well.
I will do. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful Christmas and New Year.
Yeah,
And
you
Will,
too.
if you want to discuss data stuff, hit me up. We can absolutely have that conversation.
We'll touch base next year for sure.
And
All
can
right,
I just
well,
say, what's really amazing about these groups that I'm finding, and this is blowing my mind, is the generosity that happens and the referrals that happen and the business that's arising out of these groups. I've got people in some of my other groups who are referring each other and who are being booked to go and speak at the, hey, I'm running an event. Do you want to come and be a speaker at my event? And we'll pay you
awesome.
and we'll fire you and all, like, it's just, so this is amazing to see that there's potential
Wahoo.
opportunity here for the two of you. And
Totally.
yeah, yay.
Yeah. Stay well, Caroline. Have
Take
a
care,
great
Caroline.
Christmas, New Year.
We'll talk soon, my friend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.